Good evening. This hearing is now in session and is being recorded to maintain a permanent record. My name is Danielle Boudreau. I am the rulemaking coordinator at the Department of State Lands, and I will be serving as the department's hearing officer. Today's date is May 28th, 2025, and the time is 6 p.m. Joining me from the department are
Dana Hicks, Planning and Policy Manager.
Daniel Evans, Wetland Ecology Specialist.
Charles Redon, Removal Fill Specialist.
Thank you. The purpose of this evening's meeting is twofold. We will begin with an information session, followed by the public rule hearing for the proposed fees for the Department of State Lands Removal Fill Regulatory Program, which includes wetland determinations and delineations, general authorizations, individual removal fill permits, and general removal fill permits. During the information session, Dana, Daniel, and Charles will provide information regarding the need for rulemaking, background about the determination of the proposed fees, changes since the first public comment period, and information related to the different program area fees. We ask that you hold any questions until the presentation is ended, at which time we will gladly answer those questions. Once that is concluded, we will begin the public rule hearing. Please note that during the rule hearing, the department will not be answering any questions or responding to comments. This meeting will conclude when all participants who wish to comment have finished. Our Zoom protocols tonight are that for each person who wishes to speak, we ask that they raise their hand. To raise their hand, they click the reactions near the bottom of the screen and click raise hand, or by pressing *9 if on the phone. We will seek a balance of speaking time during discussions. For technical support, please message us in the chat. We ask that you please keep your mic muted unless it is your turn to speak. Use of video is encouraged. We ask that all participants be respectful of each other and DSL representatives. I'll now go ahead and turn things over to Dana.
Thanks, Danielle. So we'll go over some of the background of why we're doing the rulemaking. And first, just the laws that we're under is the removal fill laws, which can be found in Oregon Revised Statute 196.600 through 196.921. And they govern the removal of material from the beds and banks or filling of waters of the state, which include wetlands. And these laws are in place for the protection, conservation, and best use of the water resources of the state. They're administered through the department's regulatory program, which issues permits or authorizations for the removal or filling of material. In 2023, the Oregon legislature passed House Bill 2238, which directs the department to adopt by rule a tiered fee structure for removal fill permits and wetland delineation reports and fees for general authorizations. Additionally, the bill puts forth that the director will evaluate the impact of fully recovering through fees the cost of administering the removal fill program associated with different project types, as well as the impacts on the waters of the state. Our current removal fill fee structure is outlined in Oregon Revised Statute 196.815, which establishes base fees and stipulates fees will be adjusted annually based on changes to the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers West region. Base fees were last increased during the 2007 regular legislative session. The existing removal fill fee structure does not align with the actual permitting process, resulting in years of unmet costs. Existing fees charged for services cover only 21% of the costs associated with the removal fill permitting process, which means that the Common School Fund is heavily subsidizing the program. An average of $2.7 million is expended annually to cover the gap. DSL is the administrative agency of the State Land Board, which oversees the lands of Oregon. The lands Oregon was granted at statehood to help fund public schools and the Common School Fund. Every one of Oregon's 197 public school districts receives money from the Common School Fund each year. Multiple DSL key performance measures and strategic initiatives are aimed at eliminating or reducing common school fund subsidy of our programs. To determine the tiered fee structure, DSL staff looked closely at the complexity, for example, the length of time per review, size and scope of a project, of each type of permit or authorization and wetland delineation that the department reviews, as well as the benefits to the environment. Additionally, several data sets were included in the calculation of the proposed fees, including fiscal data, staff time tracking data, annual permit application data, annual general authorization notifications, and the annual number of wetland determined delineations that we received. I'll turn it over to Charles Redden to talk about what changed after the first comment period.
Thank you. So the removal fill application type definitions were revised. DSL received a comment noting that many projects built by public entities benefit the public and are not for profit, and therefore should be charged lower fees. In response, DSL updated the definitions for application type A and application type B to focus on the nature of the project, specifically whether it is for profit or not, regardless of who is applying. Fee increases and cost recovery adjustment. To reflect the revised applicant definitions, DSL rebalanced the fee structure, which resulted in some fee increases. To prevent excessive increases, the overall cost recovery target was reduced from 85% to 80%, striking a balance between affordability and program sustainability. However, this will result in fewer costs being recovered. Hourly charges are limited to Tier 5 applicants. Initially, the proposed rule allowed DSL to charge an additional hourly rate for both Tier 4 and Tier 5 projects if staff time exceeded the standard fee. This has been revised. The hourly rate now applies only to Tier 5. Revisions to the billing process. In response to legal counsel, changes include how DSL will bill for the tier fees and other fees for removal fill applications, how much time the applicants have to pay, and the consequences of non-payment. Updated fees will be effective September 1st, 2025, and subsequent increases are scheduled to fall on September 1st. The original effective date of July 1 is now delayed due to the need for this second comment period.
And now we'll go ahead and switch over to Daniel.
Thank you. This slide covers our wetland determinations. This is where the department makes a determination whether on-site or off-site at the office, and currently these are all free. Going forward, the off-site or office determinations for the presence of wetlands, which are completed by DSL staff, will continue to be free. But on-site determinations will have a fee now of $450, increasing annually to cost $660 by September 1st, 2029. For mapping the boundaries of wetland delineations, the current fee for wetland delineations for review is $575. Under the new tiered structure proposed, starting September 1st, 2025, the review fee will change from $600 to $3,500 depending on the acres of wetland delineated and, under Tier 3, the size of the study area. The fee will increase annually and will range from $1,295 to $5,386 by September 1st, 2029.
Low impact activities on wetlands and waters. Certain removal and fill activities have been pre-approved under a general authorization because they have minimal impacts to wetlands and waterways. The fee for a general authorization notice review is currently $250 for some activities, while others are free. Under the new fee structure, general authorizations will cost $450 starting September 1st, 2025, and increase to $660 by September 1st, 2029. Removing or filling materials in wetlands and waters. Current fees. The most a removal fill permit currently costs is $1,027 for a private applicant or $1,635 for a public or commercial applicant. For applications that do not require a removal fill permit, there is currently no cost to the applicant. Certain removal fill permit activities, such as voluntary habitat restoration and erosion control, do not require a fee. Under the new tiered structure proposed, starting September 1, 2025, permit applicants will be charged a base fee plus the applicable tier fee. Fees will depend on the type of application, the impacts to wetlands and waterways, and factors that increase the complexity of the application review. Fees start as low as $700 for a base application fee only to upwards of $23,100 for an application in Tier 5. Fees will increase annually and will range from $964 upwards of $33,509 by September 1, 2029.
At this time, there are not any members of the public in attendance, so there will be no questions or oral comments regarding this rulemaking. Written comments can be submitted through May 31st, 2025 at 5 p.m. And it is anticipated that the proposed rule language will be filed with the Secretary of State for adoption in July 2025 with an effective date of September 1st, 2025. Once the rules have been filed, the department will send out a public notice to our rulemaking listserv. At this time, I hereby close the public hearing of the proposed fees for the Department of State Lands Removal Fill Regulatory Program.